Hello, everyone. This is the Lundquist Real Estate Podcast. I'm here today with Bob Lundquist from our office, and we're going to talk a little bit about all the exciting new opportunities for housing around Wabash County this year. So, Bob, you want to introduce yourself? Say hello.
I'm Bob Lundquist, owner of Lundquist Appraisals and Real Estate in Wabash, Indiana. I've been in this business for over 43 years, and I'm really excited about some of the new home options that are going to be coming to and are available currently in Wabash and North Manchester and the small town of LeGros. And I'll just kind of hit the highlights of all those things here in the next few minutes. And so I think I'll start in North Manchester. There's a subdivision up there on 9th Street. The city or the town of North Manchester has been collaborating with Ideal Homes to bring single-family homes to North Manchester area for a couple of years now.
What kind of homes are in there?
They're mostly single-family homes, and there's paired villas, or most people would think of it like a duplex. They're on decent-sized lots. They're small, but they're decent-sized lots. But it's really filling a need for new housing options in North Manchester. There's another new subdivision that's just started up on the north side of State Road 13, 200 East, up near across the road from Peabody. And there's going to be some new homes, spec homes under construction in there. So there's going to be some new options there. And in the works is maybe a single block or so, maybe a little bigger, new housing option right down next to Manchester University.
Okay, and what are some of these houses going to be priced at?
I think most of them are running in the mid twos to mid threes. And so, cost of construction is high. Everybody thinks, oh my gosh, that's a lot of money, but that's the reality of the world we live in.
I mean, for a new home, I think that's affordable.
Yeah, I mean, you look at what the price has done on in the last 2 or 3 years just on existing older homes in our county, and this is not new. I mean, this has been going on for years and years and years. The housing shortage is across the country, but it's been real here in Wabash County for years. And about 5 or 6 years ago, Mayor Long put together a committee and started looking into what the city of Wabash and North Manchester was involved too in their area to try to do something about the population decline and the fact that we didn't have any new housing options available for people. And so it's been a long road, but now some of this stuff is starting to come to fruition. We've got obviously the subdivisions I talked about in North Manchester that are happening. The small town of LeGros has had a lot of revitalization in their small downtown area.
You said there's going to be some new spec homes actually built in LeGros, not just some rehab.
I mean, there's a group of people that have come together there to build some new single-family homes there, a few. There's some older houses that are being rehabbed by another group of people. So there's a lot going on in the small town of LeGros, too, and it's great to see that town being revitalized and coming back to life.
Oh, absolutely. That town has changed immensely in the last few years.
Yeah, I mean, and I grew up out there, so it declined for 50 years, and now seeing it come back to life is really impressive.
Sure.
And it's been at the hands of the citizens of LeGros.
Yeah.
I mean, they've made this happen, by a group of people who have come together and said, hey, we want to make LeGros great again.
It's a nice little community.
So
I've got a few lots available in Wabash for building sites on the north side of town, fairly close to the hospital, basically right across the street from the elementary school. But tell us some of the other options that are coming up in Wabash.
We've got 2 new subdivisions. One of them is Kentner Creek Crossing, which is on the north side of the Honeywell Golf Course and located on State Road 15 and 50 North, County Road 50 North, right at the north edge of Wabash. And there's 26 lots in there that are buildable. They're ready to go, shovel ready, and all city utilities. And there's 2 brand new homes that have just been constructed out there. There's one that just broke ground a couple of weeks ago. It's going to be
is that going to be a spec home for somebody to buy?
And so that leaves 22 lots out there, and they're ready to go. And great location, north side of Wabash, next to the Honeywell Golf Course.
Just a few minutes from Northfield High School.
Yeah, and it's kind of the next generation of the Honeywell Gardens. It's fully developed now.
Now, it doesn't have the same restrictions and covenants and things as the golf course, correct?
They're similar.
They're similar. Okay.
Yeah, they're similar. It does come with an HOA, and it's going to have some covenants and conditions, which all new subdivisions are required to have today.
Sure.
So it's not something that's out of the ordinary. So, and then on top of that, we've got the newest thing going on in Wabash is the former Wabash County Hospital site, which is 13 acres that's being developed. Parkview Hospital donated it to the city.
And that's Legacy Heights, correct?
And that's Legacy Heights. And there's going to be 44 home sites there. The first 18 lots are paired villas again, which will be, most people will see that as a duplex.
I think there's a demand for those.
There is, especially people that don't want any maintenance and they want something a little smaller. And then the rest of the lots are going to be single family homes. There's going to be roughly 3 different home styles of single family homes of 1-story design, a 1.5-story design, and a 2-story design. And there's going to be lots of nice common area there for kids to play, things like that.
And we're talking decent square footage, attached garages.
They're going to be, what I consider workforce housing, which, I know people in Wabash aren't used to those kind of prices. They're going to range in price probably with the lot, between $250,000 and $300,000. You can upgrade them some if you want. But that's workforce housing today.
And it's in a nice central location for Wabash on the north side of town, but still convenient to everywhere.
And we're going to be marketing the lots and helping with Ideal Homes. We're going to be the home builder there, and we're going to be helping to try to promote and sell those houses too, along with Brenda Williams from Century 21 Bradley.
Yep.
And so I think it's going to be a nice collaborative effort between all of us to try to make this housing happen in Wabash, which has been a long time coming and very well.
Sure. No, it's been needed for years. I think it's new housing options have been needed the entire time I've been in this business.
Yeah. I mean, most people don't realize it, but the last, subdivision out there was on the south side of Wabash, and it's fully developed now. I think there might be a few lots left out there that Pathfinders are building spec homes on from time to time. But it's fully developed. We had the Honeywell Gardens, which was developed about 27 years ago, and that project was taken on by the Honeywell Foundation because they saw the need. And we don't have developers and home builders in Wabash like a lot of communities do.
Well, and as good as it was to have that development does not cater to everyone in Wabash County as far as price point, style, what they're looking for. Those HOAs are a little more restrictive than some want. So it didn't quite fit the bill overall for a housing issue. It was nice to have. They were premier homes, but
it was something that was necessary and needed for Wabash. And so, but it's fully developed now. And so we had to come up with something new, someplace, I don't know that a lot of people realize just how much of a shortage there is of housing in Wabash County. And it's not just Wabash County. This is nationwide.
I think any buyer in the last couple of years knows the shortage.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
We've had average 35 or so active listings, maybe a few more or a few less at any given time for the last 3+ years. And that's active listings in the entire county that don't have offers accepted on them. And so that's really created a problem for buyers trying to find a suitable house, and especially if they're wanting to relocate here. And so and there's a lot of people out there that would like to sell their house, existing home, and move into a newer home, either upsize or downsize. But they're staying put because there's not any new housing options available.
I think these spec houses are going to sell way better than just the bare lots needing developed. I think there's been issues getting contractors and meeting timelines, and a lot of people just don't know where to start with that big process of building and designing a home. But if there's a spec home that they like sitting there available on the market, I think it'll sell as fast as they can get it done.
That's been proven out. I mean, if you look at, Ideal Homes is going to be the builder for the Legacy Heights. But and even if you look at North Manchester with the Chester Heights addition up there, they've only sold one bare lot. All the rest of those homes have sold as spec homes that were, maybe 50% complete. And so people could actually walk through it, see what they're buying. And in today's world, we are a population that wants everything now.
Well, and it is fantastic that we've got some builders willing to do that. I mean, I've heard over the years, maybe before my time some in real estate, where, we would reach out to some of these builders and they'd say, we are so busy right here close to where they're located. They don't need to travel 30, 40, 50 miles to Wabash to develop homes. And we've got some people here locally that are tackling that and doing that for us.
Yeah. And a lot of it, at least in Wabash City, a lot of credit goes to the mayor.
Sure.
And the committee he's put together in Grow Wabash County. I mean, they have been instrumental in making this happen. It never would happen if we left it up to the private sector to do this because of what you just mentioned. We don't have developers willing to send their crews an hour one way every day to build houses when they don't need to.
Right.
And so this housing shortage is not going to cure itself in the next decade, from what I read. Everything I read says, the nation is going to suffer from a housing shortage for at least the next decade, and it's probably longer than that.
Sure.
And so Wabash is really, in Wabash County, especially North Manchester and Wabash, have really taken the bull by the horns and said, hey, we need to try to do something about this. We have to try to stop this population decline.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's a slow moving wheel at first. And if you don't have the city, the leaders of the community really making that a priority, it never actually comes to light, does it?
No, it doesn't. I mean, it takes city funds. It takes taxpayer dollars to help, with all this stuff. We were fortunate with Legacy Heights. They were able to get a $3+ million grant from the state to help put in the infrastructure. But it costs a lot of money to develop these sites.
But there's hours and hours and hours involved in just, obtaining those grants and properly applying for them.
Oh, I've been on this housing committee with the city since before COVID.
Sure.
So it's been that long in the works trying to work through this.
And we're just getting ready to break ground.
And we've got a couple other things on our radar. The city has acquired basically 8 lots on East Market Street across from the Moose that joins Paradise Springs. They've got that. We're trying to find, the city's trying to find a developer to develop that into some nice townhomes there.
Mm-hmm. And that's walking distance to downtown.
It's, right in the middle of everything.
Right across the street from the river trails. That's a great location for somebody.
And we've got the old General Tire Gencor property. It's 34 acres out there. 4 acres or so of it's highly contaminated. It's going to be a brownfield cleanup. Mm-hmm. The rest of it is usable for single-family homes or apartments.
Now, so a lot of people don't understand that. So, I mean, that site that's part of that cleanup, is that going to impact anybody that builds a new home out there that lives out there?
It shouldn't, because they'll clean it up. It's going to cost millions of dollars to clean that site up. Mm-hmm. That 4 acres or whatever it is, it's close to 4 acres. They won't be able to build houses on it.
Sure.
You can't build something that's going to occupy people 24/7.
Could they use it like a common ground, a little park area or something like that?
They could build, like convenience store there that doesn't occupy people 24/7. I mean, there's all kinds of things like that.
Just not a home.
But not a home.
Okay.
And so, but 34 acres or 30 acres that's left, you can put a lot of homes in there.
And I'm assuming, there's some that, just the hearing that there's some contamination out there, it might scare them off. But cities around the country do this kind of redevelopment and clean these sites up and make residential expansion all the time.
Oh yeah, or commercial sites. But yeah, there's a process that they have to go through, but it'll eventually be cleaned up and be developed. I think it's probably 3-4 years down the road before we see much, in the way of housing being built there. But it's coming. Mm-hmm. It'll come. And, one of the things that I'd like to talk about that I didn't realize, I've been in the real estate business for 43+ years, and it took a while for me to realize that, hey, we've got just as big a problem with rental availability as we do single family homes.
Oh, well, I mean, I think the price that they're getting for rent has shown how big of a demand there is.
And so, part of these projects, could very well include, some nice market rate single family rentals.
Sure.
Maybe townhouse, it'd probably be a townhouse style, but
sure.
But we're looking at some, at that as a possibility, for that Gencor property, and maybe even over there at the hospital legacy site. There's a big parking lot over there between this subdivision and the nursing home that's over there that could someday contain a nice apartment complex. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of things going on in Wabash County that weren't happening 3 and 4 or 5 years ago.
Right.
And I think it's all going to be a positive. And, if we get new homes built in these sites, a lot of those people, some of them are going to be relocating here from other areas, but some of those people are going to be putting their existing home on the market
sure.
to buy this new home, which will free up that house for someone that maybe can't afford a $300,000 house or a $250,000 house, but wants that $100,000 house in Wabash.
Absolutely.
And so I
Well,
think it's a win-win.
there's just so many things that are on the cusp of happening here for a community our size.
Yes.
I think it may draw people in from our surrounding counties where there still aren't new home options like we're creating.
Yeah, and we see that. One of the things that's changed in the real estate business that I've noticed is that people are shopping a bigger area than what they used to. They can't find something in Allen County or Huntington County that suits them. Something pops up in Wabash County that is what they're looking for. They're willing to commute, and they buy the house in Wabash County and commute to Fort Wayne or Huntington or wherever it is, Warsaw, for instance.
Sure.
But like I said, it's been a struggle. It's not going to happen overnight, but we are moving in the right direction.
I agree. I think, and we've lost residents that considered Wabash just because there wasn't a new house option. Even if we had inventory, there wasn't anything here that was new enough for them. The older homes doesn't appeal to everyone.
Yeah. Well, if you get a client looking for a 4-bedroom, 2.5-bath home, a newer home option with a 3-car garage, what's available?
Nothing.
You had one that you put on the market, what was it, Monday?
Well, it hit the market. The one in Manchester?
Yeah.
It hit the market Friday. And
yeah.
It
It sold to the first person that looked at it for full price.
Potentially, yeah.
So yeah, it's that type of market. And it's been a struggle for buyers, and it's led to higher prices across the country. And but those prices in most markets are here to stay. They're not coming down like some buyers think.
Sure.
And so they're here. I know new housing, the cost to build a new house has gone up dramatically too, along with other problems in trying to find contractors and supplies and stuff. But it's starting to work its way out. At least that issue is. And so we're coming we're actually moving in the right direction.
Sure. I agree. And realistically, mid 200,000 to 300,000 price point for a brand new home, 3+ bedrooms, multiple bathrooms, attached garage. I don't think that there's any area that I regularly travel to or work in where that price is viewed as unreasonable.
Well, you got to realize too that includes the lot.
Right.
And it's expensive to put these lots in and develop these sites. And I don't know the exact price point of the lots out there in Legacy Heights, but I think they're going to be in that 35 to 40 range. And but that price in the house is going to include the lot. And the same way out at Kentner Creek, those lots vary from 45,000 up to 80,000, depending on the size. And so that's just something that is necessary. I mean, the developer out there is not making any money on this. They are simply trying to do something good for the community.
Sure. And, I don't think a lot of people don't understand what it costs to just put the infrastructure, the streets, and just create that subdivision before any homes are even built. I mean, that's a huge undertaking, whether it's privately done or whether it's done by the community, the county.
It's gotten to the point where, honestly, the private sector just really can't do it in a place like Wabash.
Sure.
It takes government assistance.
Sure.
Through the city or through the county or state grants. I mean, otherwise it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And so that's why, that the city has taken this burden on themselves. And so is the town of North Manchester and, some of the citizens there at LaGrow.
Well, I think it's a great thing. I think it's something that Wabash County has needed for years. I'm excited to see ground get broke and some new things happening starting this summer. And I think you start adding up all these new subdivisions, and that is a considerable amount of housing opportunity for our community.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to cure everything, but we certainly have to address this population decline if we want our community to thrive and be a really good place for people to live in the next generation.
Absolutely. So, I'm excited to see what happens in Wabash County. Are any of our surrounding counties, and I mean, we may not know all the details of them, but have you heard of any of our surrounding counties doing the same?
They're all trying to do the same thing at various levels. Some counties have a lot more housing options than what we do. Some don't. And so it just depends on the leadership in their counties, how aggressive they've been at trying to deal with this. Um, and but all the everywhere has problems. All the expansion. Now, saying in Howard County, with the stuff going on down there, they've got a severe housing shortage, rentals and single family homes. I think it's across the country.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to see a small rural community like ours tackling that and getting ahead of it.
Yes.
At least trying to. So, what are the price point differences between, like, we've talked about the prices for Legacy Heights, a little bit about, what's going on in Manchester for cost, but do you think that these spec homes and these refurbished homes, like the ones LeGros going to offer, where do you think those will end up, comparable prices?
I would think so. I haven't had enough information to know what size they are, what quality they're going to be, but but it's pretty hard to build a house, for less than, 150, $200 a square foot.
Sure.
And so when you start looking at a, 1,600 square foot house, you can see what kind of dollars you're looking at. Yeah. And so, I just think that there'll be more information coming out, on that, and they've got a good group of people down there that are working on it. So it'll be nice housing, and it'll be affordable for most people. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, like the last few that are filling up the remaining spaces there in the older subdivisions on the south end of town, they were priced, even as small as they were priced above $2.
Yeah, I think the last one out there was priced at $260 or $265, and
sold in a week.
And it sold in a week.
Mm-hmm.
We just sold one that was 15 years old.
No, that one that I just sold, it was only 5 years old.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But it sold. It sold right away too.
Yeah. Yep.
And it was in the 200 range.
And it still looked like new. It was very nice.
Yeah. So but you're talking about, a small house.
Mm-hmm.
It's not big at all.
Mm-hmm. So. Now, what size of homes are they planning on building? The single family part of Legacy Heights, are we looking at that 1,600 square feet or bigger?
I think some will be a little bigger, and some, but I think that's probably going to be there. I haven't looked at the plans yet. They're trying to finalize the HOA, the covenants, conditions, and prices for lots, and I should have that information this week.
Great.
And so, and I know these house plans. They specially built these plans for these lots because they're a little narrower than some of the lots that they work with.
Right.
And so these are special house plans that they don't have in some of the other subdivisions. So they don't really have a model house for you to go look at this point.
Sure.
And they're going to start a model house out there pretty quick.
Great.
And so I think there'll be some real activity going on there by June.
Mm-hmm. So. And is like the GDX site. That's probably still a couple years
a few
out.
years away.
Mm-hmm.
They've got to work through all the legal stuff, and they've got to do the brownfield cleanup, and then start talking about cleaning all the concrete and asphalt and all the debris that's around there out.
Sure.
So it takes time.
Yeah, but it's coming.
I'm impatient. I like to get a shovel out and start today, but
Sure.
it takes years to make all this stuff happen.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into the development of those things, I'm sure.
Yeah.
No, it's great. Does what's the one in Manchester?
Chester Heights.
Does it have any more availability in it, or is it full?
No, it's there's still several lots out there that are available, and so I don't know exactly where they are as far as the development, but there's still a lot of available spots there.
Do you think they're, with the college being there, I'm sure their rental situation is in just as high a demand as Wabash or more.
Oh yeah.
Are they doing any of the villas or townhouses, or are these all single family homes?
I think it's a variety. If now they tell me that most of those new homes that have sold out there have sold to people that relocated from another area to North Manchester, which was kind of a surprise. I think we thought that it'd be existing people building a new house and putting their existing house on the market, but the opposite has happened there. From what the realtors up there tell me, that I think there's only been one of those that sold to a North Manchester resident, and the rest of them have been people that relocated to North Manchester.
Well, I think it maybe shows, the interest of people who, would like to live in our community if there was a home for them.
Well, I hear it, you hear it. There's people that want to live in a community like Wabash, and they're willing to commute to Fort Wayne or Warsaw or Kokomo to work.
Oh yeah.
And so my theory is that in time, if we have an available workforce from people moving here, people staying here, then employers will see that there's an available workforce in Wabash County and say, hey, maybe we ought to look at Wabash County for our business.
I mean, Wabash County has some great employers, but there's a huge percentage of our community that already commutes to those other counties.
Yeah.
And, you know, I know that we had issues when Parkview built their new hospital. A few of the new doctors and people that they hired, they looked at Wabash briefly and then relocated to, you know, Roanoke, Huntington, you know, places that had newer housing options.
Yeah. Well, that whole system changed when Wabash Hospital became Parkview Hospital, because now before they required the doctors to live there or live within 30 minutes, and now that's not really the case anymore.
Sure.
But, you know, and that's how a lot of the houses got built out in the gardens. You know, a doctor would come to town, couldn't find a house that suited them, you know, and they'd build a new house.
I'm sure we would have retained a few of those people, and they would have, you know, liked to have lived in Wabash had there been a home for them that met their needs.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, I think this is going to be a great thing for Wabash County and our community, and it's just taken a long time to get here, and we're not done. This is just the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Great. Well, I'm excited to see it happen and actually start this summer. You know, come to Wabash County, check out the new houses, you know, get with a realtor, you know, figure out where these places are, drive past them, see what you think. I mean, big things are happening for a small rural community. I think everyone should be excited about it. Well, Bob, thanks for coming today. We'll have you back on, you know, in the future. And everyone, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
All right. Thanks, everyone.